Hi and welcome to The Light Leaders, a podcast for light workers who want more money, power and impact. I'm your host, Alex E. Lember. I believe that we are currently in the middle of a global awakening of humanity and that leveraging entrepreneurship is the fastest way to raise the consciousness of our planet. So in this podcast, I interview light workers and conscious entrepreneurs who follow their soul mission and have built a business around it. I call them light leaders, and this is the new paradigm. You will hear their stories and, more importantly, receive tools, tips, and strategies on how you can also impact more people and grow your business while following your soul mission. If you hear little nuggets you love and you'd like to share, screenshot this episode and share on your Instagram stories. Make sure to tag us at the Light Leaders Podcast and we will repost. Hi and welcome to this new episode of The Light Leaders. Today I'm with Dharmaraj. Dharmaraj is a Tantra teacher, sexuality and intimacy coach, holistic healer and former biological holistic dentist. As lead faculty of Tantra Essence team, he offers trainings and healing sessions internationally in Europe, Asia, and the USA. He offers sexuality and intimacy coaching for individuals and couples. Dharmaraj has a deep passion for sacred sexual healing through Tantra massage and leads the ultimate mystic Tantra massage 1 month practitioners training annually here in Bali, as well as guide sexual healing journeys for clients via individual session series. Thank you for being here, Dharmaraj. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Alex. And yeah, it's my pleasure.
So as usual, I like to jump straight into what is your vision for the world, really your why, what drives you, and how is your business helping bringing that vision into manifestation?
Mm-hmm. So in my journey, in my life, I discovered that the root of a lot of people's trauma and why they can't move on and why they can't manifest their dreams is actually in their sexuality and an unhealthy or unexpressed or with trauma or whatever it is. But so I like to help people to come back into health and healing and wholeness with themselves and with their sexual expression. So this is very much my passion, working with sexuality, with intimacy.
And so what's your business at the moment?
So I'm a Tantra teacher. So I've gone around the world for the last 5-6 years, teaching in 12 different countries, every year with like 40 flights and like 15 trainings, whatever it is. And that was pre-COVID. I was constantly on the road, flying from country to country, leading workshops for individuals, couples, trainings, retreats on the subject of Tantra and sexual intimacy and meditation. And since COVID, I had in March, April, May, I had 6 trainings that were full and ready to go that were canceled because of COVID. So it's like, okay, how do I shift my business, taking the knowledge, the embodied wisdom and the tools and the gifts that I can offer, and then shift that more into online work, shift that more into coaching. So I was doing coaching before as well, but primarily focused on live trainings. So now I'm still doing live trainings. I just finished one just a few days ago, which is amazing that we can even have them. But with, of course we were wearing masks, social distancing, whatever, right? And then, but mostly now I'm doing coaching, and that's been really rewarding to move my business in this way and still be able to reach and impact people all around the world, even they can't travel to me anymore.
Yeah, and I've done one of your trainings here in Bali and it was amazing. I think it's going to be really interesting because you explained that shift online that maybe a lot of conscious entrepreneurs and light workers kind of have to do through that COVID-19 situation, but that might be also a blessing in disguise. And I really like to have you also because you're very dedicated to your mission. So we'll get back to that. but I really like to understand the hero's journey. So really, did you have maybe a moment you hit rock bottom, or a aha moment that comes to mind that first led you to the tantric path and then led you to also do it as your mission, really?
I've always been a scientist. I've always been interested in understanding how things work.
You were a dentist, right?
I was a dentist, a biological holistic dentist. So many years in this training and also working in that profession before I retired from that profession to be a Tantra teacher.
Dr. Dharmaraj.
My last name is actually Who, so I'm Dr. Who, time-traveling dentist, right? But anyways, so I guess my journey around sexuality and Tantra started in university when I first started to be sexually active, and then I was having sex. I wouldn't call it making love or anything. Having sex and not feeling anything. Like, I can't even feel if I'm inside the woman. I don't feel any pleasure. I'm thrusting, and it's just like, it sucks. It's terrible. I'm like, what is the point of this? Is everyone just pretending that they're enjoying this, or is there some piece that I'm really missing? So I really wanted to understand this. So then I studied the biology of reproduction. I studied the anatomy and physiology. I studied trying to get to the bottom of like what is going on with this. So I was like, okay, I'm not enjoying this process, but at least I'm learning the women's anatomy so that I can give her pleasure, even if I'm not really having pleasure doing this. But still, something's very off. And luckily, after actually while I was in dental school, I had a group of friends who introduced me to Tantra, like, hey, there's this thing, and come to this workshop. And I didn't know anything about it. I didn't grow up in spiritually. So it's like, okay, so I'll come check it out. So it was a weekend workshop in Boston. And then I learned about the chakra system. I learned about Kundalini energy. I learned about moving the sexual energy through the body with breath, movement, and sound. And suddenly my whole system started to come alive. And then I realized that this was the missing piece, like bridging sexuality and spirituality also through the heart, bringing in meditation, love, and sexuality. And then like now I understood like what it's all about. So then my next partner after that, I started applying these kinds of things that I've learned. And then I understood what it means to make love, what it means to be in orgasmic ecstasy with the universe. It wasn't just like thrusting with very little sensation. Now it's like, I understand the point. So then I was inspired to share this with others also.
Wow, that's beautiful. And sharing with others, was there something you saw about the world where you were like, okay, I want to share that with others? Do you feel like most people are into that thrusting mode and really not feeling when they make love?
I think it's an epidemic, just like the lack of education around sexuality and intimacy. The education that I got was basically, if you have sex, then your penis turns into a cauliflower and it's covered in warts and disease. You just shouldn't even do it. Basically was the education in the USA. Just like no consciousness around how to be in presence with the other, how to bring your heart into it, how to move energy together, and not just have it be like a drunken, like pointless thing like I experienced in college. So there's really a lack of education and lack of awareness. And I think everyone can be compassionate with themselves if this is the case for them, because it's nobody's fault that this is the way. We live in a very sex negative society that does not prioritize joy and ecstasy and love and bliss and healing. So it's very distorted. So one of my missions is to help clear this distortion and help as many people as possible come into wholeness around their sexuality.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's sometimes people claim that we've had a lot of sexual liberation, but not really. There's still a lot of shame, and and then the other side of it is a lot of porn and sex everywhere and advertisement. But really, I feel that's the other side of that pendulum, right?
Absolutely. And many of us, got our education around sex from porn, which is basically if men are practicing what they see in porn, it's exactly the opposite of what a woman wants or is turned on by. So then we have people in our society just unfulfilled, unable to express what they actually want because they don't know what is possible. They don't know what they want, you know, with the addiction to porn and everything. And it's very, very unhealthy the way that society is going right now. And I think there's reason for that, though, why it is this way. Because if people were truly free and liberated in their sexuality, then we wouldn't be so readily available to comply with all the rules and regulations and lockdowns and suppression and censorship. You know, it's like this analogy I like to use is a bull. Like a bull is so strong and virile and he doesn't give a fuck. Like he's gonna do what he wants, and he has this full power and freedom. And what happens when you cut off the bull from his sexuality? You cut off his balls, you castrate the bull. Now it's an ox. And this ox is ready to carry the burdens of the society, like to be a worker without its own freedom, without its individual expression. So this is what's happened in the society. When we have an unhealthy sexual expression, then the society just becomes full of ox, and we're not truly free. So Tantra is a process that really liberates the individual to be in their full expression.
I think that's very profound. And without going into a rabbit hole, I think there are a lot of things that people need to learn by themselves because society doesn't teach it to them, and to be empowered, because then you're harder to control. Right. And sexuality, I think, is such an important one. So thanks for going on in that direction too. I'd love to talk a little bit about I usually have two angles, like how you built a business around your expertise, and we'll talk about that. But before, I want to talk also about how your expertise and in this scenario, more like working with sexual energy and Tantra, how that can help people in general as a practice with a specific focus also on the entrepreneur.
Absolutely. So with Tantra, you know, a lot of traditions or practices will kind of avoid the sexuality. Like most spiritual masters actually were just working with these higher...
Wait, before you get started,
yes,
can I ask you what is Tantra? Because I've heard a lot of definitions.
Well, I can give you a lot of definitions because there are a lot of definitions. Tantra is a beautiful word, and one definition of Tantra in Sanskrit is to weave, and we're weaving together opposites. So that could be day and night, masculine, feminine, and we're playing with this duality, and we understand that actually the true nature of reality is oneness. But actually here on this 3D plane on the earth, then we're just playing and enjoying this duality like a game. It's a divine comedy. And that's to weave. That's one definition. Another is methods of meditation. So Tantra is methods of meditation. It's not a religion. It's like different methods of meditation to explore every aspect of the human experience. So, for example, the oldest known Tantra scripture, the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, 5,000 years old tantric scripture. It's Lord Shiva sharing with Parvati, his consort, lessons about life, love, relationship, creativity, everything, every aspect of the human experience. And within that, 112 methods of meditation, 6 of them have to do with sex. So sex is part of the human experience, but that's not what Tantra is all about. 6 out of 112, that's like 5%, right? But Tantra is really approaching life in this beautiful way that every aspect of the human experience is divine, is beautiful, and let's approach that without shame, without judgment, including sexuality, because that's part of who we are and it's perfectly natural. So it's an exploration of life without shame, without guilt.
I feel like Tantra is so associated with sexuality because Tantra is about accepting all of it.
Right.
And it's the consequence of sexuality being probably the thing in our modern society where there's the most shame about. So it's not directly about sexuality, but in our modern day context, because it accepts it, it makes it a lot about it.
Right.
Would that be accurate?
I can tell you where this title stuck, with how Tantra became the cult of sex.
Yeah. And when I come to your retreat, a lot of it is about sex too.
Well, the retreat you came to was called Master Lover, which was specifically about how to become the best possible lover and all the lovemaking techniques and everything. So there's there's dozens of different, 26 different trainings that I offer, or we offer within Tantra Essence. And you came to the most sexual one that we offer, which is specifically about having the best sex of your life, actually.
Okay, what a coincidence.
But yeah, I'll just say briefly that in the Victorian age, when they first started, the English took over India, and they started to discover these ancient Sanskrit texts, and they started to translate them. And this Victorian era are people who are so uptight that they have to cover the legs of a table with a tablecloth because that was too sexual to share bare legs of a table. So these people discovered that in Tantra, there's some sexual rituals. Oh my God, out of 112 methods, there's 5 sexual rituals. Okay. This is the cult of sex. Okay. They're so uptight. So not understanding that the Tantrikas accepted sex and celebrated sex as part of the human experience. And I want to give one more definition, if you'll be with me. Like the main definition that I like to share about Tantra is the union of love and meditation. So the masculine principle of meditation and witnessing, the feminine principle of love and devotion, and where those two meet and merge. And it's really a path that equally honors masculine and feminine, which is very rare, I think. And for all the other workshops or trainings or people saying they're teaching Tantra, in my opinion, if love is not part of it, it's not Tantra. And if meditation is not part of it, it's not Tantra. Just because it's sacred or sexual or, conscious or shamanic or whatever, those things could be great and valid, but it's not Tantra unless it's a union of meditation and love. So one of my missions is to bring dignity back to the word, because it's been so abused by people using it just because something is sexual. Let's call it tantric. Yeah. So then suddenly people will think it's more conscious and more interesting, but that's not.
And regarding what you teach, is it usually more on you have a bit of a spectrum, right? So I attended the one that is more sexuality driven,
Correct.
But you go on that whole spectrum.
Right.
Just for the sake of this conversation, let's go to the maybe more, I don't know if you use the term sacred sexuality, but the sexual side of the Tantra.
Sure.
Or intimacy too. How do you feel working with the sexual energy and being more empowered sexually can help people in their life, but especially the entrepreneur?
Absolutely. Well, the sexual energy is one of the most powerful and potent forces on the planet, and this is what is creating life. And if we can use and harness that energy, so energy is energy. Actually, it's not good, it's not bad. It's sexual energy is just energy, actually. And when we're cultivating this energy, we can use that for various purposes, right? It can be, outward going for reproduction, for recreation, that's needed also. Or we can bring that sexual energy in and up. And when we bring it in and up and we align it with source, then we can use this energy for manifestation, for, we can create babies, or we can create businesses. We can create the life of our dreams, because we're harnessing this powerful life force that is the most potent energy on the planet. And we can do so much with it. We can use that energy to to heal ourselves, to transform ourselves spiritually, to call in the manifestation of our dreams and the abundance that we desire. But and abundance is very much tied to the first chakra, the Muladhara, the sex center. And from this space, we really need to be grounded and fully expressed in our sexuality and healed in order to reach our full potential of being able to manifest our dreams and to call in the abundance that we all deserve.
Yeah, I find, whether it's for myself or for other people, I'll speak for myself, I found that there was a pretty interesting correlation between how empowered I feel with my sexual energy and with my leadership in the outside world, in the business world.
Absolutely. Especially as men, with our sex center being one of our positive poles, one of our power centers. It's like, this is how we come forth into the world. This is how we can express ourselves and express that leadership qualities. And women may express it slightly differently, but it's very important to be integrated in our sexuality so that we can be fully free and in our full power.
Yeah, David Deda, that I really like, recommend a lot reading, The Way of the Superior Man, talks about penetrating the world as you penetrate your woman.
Absolutely. Penetrating the world, but with awareness, with consciousness. There's without awareness and without consciousness, then the sexual energy can just be very sloppy and perhaps destructive. But this is where having a personal practice comes in. This is where having meditation practice comes in. Like, we have this potent life force, and we're bringing our awareness and our consciousness and our presence there. And then this is a healing force. This is a powerful force that will create more abundance and more safety and more for everyone on this planet.
That's a beautiful addition, because when I say it like this, I could see how it could be interpreted as something really forceful. I'd love to know also now how. So you're passionate about Tantra. You're passionate about helping people, empowering and harnessing their sexual energy, and how you built your life around that. Because the people who listen to us, they often have their soul mission, something they really want to help the world with, and then it's about, okay, how do you deliver that efficiently to the world? So you do retreat, you're starting your online course. How did you build this?
Right. Well, I did not set out and just say that, I want to become a Tantra teacher and make that my life. No, I was in my dentistry practice. Was not fully fulfilled, but other than that, I was exploring what does fulfill me and what I am interested in, and how can I grow and evolve as a spiritual being. So that led me down the path of Tantra. That was the most profound experiences that I had were through this path of Tantra. So I did various Tantra teacher trainings. Now I'm teaching Tantra teacher training, actually. But I attended various different types of Tantra teacher trainings only because this was the deepest. I felt this was the deepest that I could go in terms of exploring myself and expanding my awareness, expanding to the fullness of my potential. And just to fully embody all the practices and to dive deeply into that for years. So I was still working my old profession, and I was diving in to these practices spiritually without any intention that I would become a Tantra teacher. But because of embodying these lived experiences, then I was just became an overflowing fountain of this wisdom, of these practices, and just very naturally, I just wanted to share it with everyone. So it was a very organic progression that led me, simply pursuing my passions at first without thinking of how to monetize that, but just working on myself. And then from that, it became impossible not to share it. It became impossible not to do this as a business.
And when you did the retreat I attended, you co-organized also with Sarita. Do you want to talk a little bit about
Yes.
this?
So my co-teacher and ex-partner, Mahananda Sarita, she was living in the enlightened master, Tantra master Osho's community for 26 years and physically with him for 19 years. So when I met her, she was my teacher, and later we transitioned into a deep relationship for 4.5 years, which ended in December, and we became loving friends and co-teachers. But this was a very profound experience, getting direct transmission from one of the world's leading Tantra masters, like leading authority. There's really no question about that. And getting the transmission from her and then wanting to share that, really wanting to share that. And I believe that she's the closest living embodiment to this enlightened master, to Osho, that exists out there. So to receive the direct transmission, I mean, I'm so grateful for all of my everything that led me to this point here, that I can share with such authenticity and integrity, and really true to those teachings that were passed down by Osho. So I have tremendous gratitude for Sarita and everything that she's given me on this path, and continues to shower on me in this path. And I enjoy every time that we teach together. We just finished a retreat like 5 days ago, and it was epic. It had an amazing response here. We're going to keep running retreats here because the response is so good. But, yeah.
And I've been reading Osho almost every day for the past year.
Incredible.
It's powerful.
Incredible.
So you talk about the retreat you've been facilitating. So regarding the business side of it,
yes.
you started with retreats, and now this COVID-19 has been hitting, and you had some retreats that were planned that got cancelled. So you thought about, I think it can be really interesting for people to understand first how you still make it work here in Bali despite the lockdowns, and also the shift online can be really interesting.
Yeah, I think most places in the world, there's not really a possibility to run live retreats anymore. There's no flights coming into Bali. There's no new people. So it's only the existing people are the pool of potential participants. But the consciousness of the people in Bali is so high, and the thirst for evolution and for spiritual growth is so high, that we're still able to hold retreats. And even though there's laws where we cannot have more than 25 people because of social distancing and all this, then we're having retreats of 25 people, which is smaller than we normally do. We're not making that much money, but I love getting back in the game doing this. So more of my income now is earned through coaching practice. So shifting in that way. And the start for me was hiring a coach. And then with that, his name is Jamin Patel. I would highly recommend him as a coach. And then from there, building more and more of the confidence that actually I can grow like a large business doing this. Like 6 figures, even 7 figures as a coach is not out of the question. Whereas 6 figures giving live trainings, that's a lot of trainings. And I was would have been approaching that figure this year, but all of that was canceled. And I really had to start from the beginning again regarding that. So working online makes it COVID proof. And I'm doing the live trainings because I absolutely love it, to work with people and just to see their transformation live. And our last training was called Tantra Transformation. And that was the focus, really helping people to transform and evolve. And I'm so grateful for that. And now I'm more and more getting used to helping people to transform and evolve online, and creating powerful containers virtually, and then having the ability to reach people on every corner of the planet. This is astounding. And I'm doing more one-on-one coaching. And then in a few months, I'm going to shift also to group coaching programs, 100, 200, 300 people, and then expanding that reach even more. Because it's not possible that I can do a live training with 300 people, but online we can reach this many people. So actually to have the most impact, like moving online, and also having be the most recession-proof and COVID-proof. So I think we all have to do it, even if there's resistance. I had major resistance to going online. Right.
super interesting, because I feel like a lot of people who would listen to us now have beautiful practices that they share. And in the spiritual community, you can have a bit of resistance to going online, and for good reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But as you shared, it's scalable. It has its own advantages too, especially for impact-driven people. So I think I'm really happy to have you here now, because you are doing these things more in person. You still do, but you're moving a little bit online, but it's still new to you. So
I wouldn't say it's new after 1 year, but it's less new. Yeah. But yeah, newer.
But as you're developing that, like, can you share a little bit about maybe your main challenge?
My main challenge was limiting beliefs about that it's not going to be as impactful online as it is live. If I can't physically be in the presence of someone, then it's not going to have the same impact, or it's not going to be powerful enough for their transformation. And that's completely untrue.
Really?
That's completely untrue.
Would that be also for group trainings, or only for one-on-one coaching?
Which part?
That wouldn't, you say it can be as powerful online?
Yeah, group training as well.
For group trainings as well?
Absolutely, wow. Absolutely. You're still creating a morphic field together. You're still in this powerful healing and transformative container, even if virtual. And you can still impact people. They can still feel my energy. I can still feel their energy, even through the screen, which is surprising for me. And you can still transform people's lives, and they can get so much value out of it. So, and then they don't have to fly to another part of the world, which now is extremely difficult or impossible. They don't have to hire accommodation, and so they can be in their own homes and in their own environment. And rather than go on a retreat and have that be like a holiday, and then they come back to their daily life, and maybe they forget about, they go back to their old patterns. Like, no, you have to integrate what we're working on now while you're living your daily life, while you're at home, while you're facing the challenges that you're facing, and to integrate meditation, integrate this consciousness, Tantra, and these evolutionary practices just in your daily life. So in some respects, it's even more powerful and profound.
Yeah, it looks like you've quite shifted your view then on this and upgraded it. What made you change?
Well, just experience.
Yeah.
Just watching, trying, and then having these doubts, having the skepticism. Is this going to work? Like, is it going to be as powerful as it could be live? And realizing that absolutely it is. Absolutely it can be. So an advice to someone who'd be hesitating, be like, okay, just do it and see the reaction. Because I feel I just had in the chair before David, he's doing a Vipassana online. And I was a bit skeptical. I was like, whoa, that must be really hard. But he tells me it works. So even people who do sound healing, who do all these things, you can do it online. Anything is possible in a limitless universe. Like anything is possible. We just have to believe in ourselves. That's it.
And where do you see your business in 5 years?
5 years, if not reaching 7 figures coaching practice, then close to that. In 5 years, so it's really grows exponentially. I'm realizing that working online, whether it's online
through
courses,
one-on-one coaching,
both. I'll do on one-on-one and group programs, and it really.
One-on-one coaching and more as a Tantra or as a Tantra teacher, or teaching people to become Tantra teachers too?
Well, teaching people to become Tantra teachers, I do lead Tantra teacher training. I don't believe that that's possible online. That's my personal opinion. So people need to come to Bali, December 2021. We're going to have a training, me and Sarita, for Tantra teacher training for people who have already had a lot of experience in Tantra and are ready to share that, not just beginners there. But as far as, so that's not something that I would bring online. But online more, I'm working with sexuality and intimacy. And I work with men, but especially I love to work with couples. That's my favorite, as in terms of live trainings, in terms of of coaching.
Yeah.
It's really helping couples come back into love and union and harmony.
And so to make it scalable, go towards those 7-figure, do like group trainings that are more affordable, the way you could have a lot of people, you said 300 people,
right.
And then maybe some really high ticket if it's one-on-one?
Exactly. So as our reputation expands through coaching, then each time, you know, if I'm only accepting 7 clients at once, I'm filling up very quickly. And then the next round where I get a new set of coaching clients for the next program, the price was going to be higher. And each time it's going to be higher, each time it's going to sell out. Yeah. And it's going to, it's becoming more and more high ticket. It's because it's helping people to understand the value of the journey. So rather than thinking of, one of the mistakes that people make that, you know, I learned from my coach is thinking about the price of one call or one session. No, you actually consider the price as the whole journey and like what they get by the end of it, what kind of life transformation, the complete shifts and the happiness and the empowerment by the end of it. Actually, I'm charging very little compared to the value that they're getting out of it. So one of the things that light workers and healers and therapists and whatever, and I also fell into this as well, this trap of thinking of like, okay, I charge X amount for one session. Like, no, think of it as you're charging this amount for this result. You're charging this amount for this journey, and you're actually charging very little for what they're getting. And they're getting, you know, decades of all the transmissions that I've received, and I'm only passing on the best so they don't have to make years of mistakes like I did to get to that point. We're getting right to the point of how you can heal and transform and evolve very efficiently. And yeah, this is priceless.
I love it. Focusing on the value, what they'll get.
Yeah.
And as you're building the online offer, did you have how do you do it? Do you hire people to do the tech side, or was it easy to transition this way?
No, I'm working with my coach, and right now I'm doing most things on my own. I do have some people helping me a little bit with copywriting, but I write like 90%. I mean, it's like small edits. And when I scale up, then I'm going to hire more of a team to help me manage things. But at this point, no.
Like you use Zoom for the calls?
Yeah, I use Zoom for the calls. You know,
it's pretty easy nowadays.
Calendly for arranging the appointments, and it's not as difficult as it seems. And the advice that I have for everyone who's considering, you know, there's probably many light workers or healers or whoever thinking about this move from live to online, and the advice is just to go for it. And it's like, oh, my website's not the way that it needs to be, or oh, my Instagram page isn't what it needs to be. Just forget about that. Like, this is procrastinating from actually just taking the plunge, just taking the leap, just go for it. You know, you're never going to feel ready. That's the thing. You keep waiting to feel ready, it's never going to happen. You just got to go for it and trust that the gifts that you have to share, there's people out there waiting to receive that, begging to receive that.
That's powerful. And how you putting it on the other person too. Like, it's not about you doing your online program, it's people needing them. And like, I know for me, when I switch to significance, or I need to do it to service, it makes actually things easier.
Absolutely.
We're close to the end. I just want to talk a little bit about sex magic and manifestation. Can you elaborate a little bit more on this? So what's sex magic, and how is that a powerful tool for manifestation? Because we're spiritual people here, but we're also entrepreneurs, and we want to create epic stuff, and we want to manifest,
absolutely.
Right? Manifest in the 3D world. So help us, Dharmaraj.
This is something that I go into and bring my clients through as far as sex magic ritual practices. I'm going to not give you the whole practice, but I'm just going to give you a little bit of background about what it is and what it's doing.
Maybe a little bit that people can play with, even if it's not the whole thing.
Right. So, especially for men, that every time that we're orgasming or ejaculating, like this potent energy is going outwards, right? So this energy that couldn't create life, or it's just going outwards for stress relief or for, whatever, but we're not actually building with that energy. Many people were just going for a release.
Yeah, I've read The Multi-Orgasmic Man by Mantak Chia.
I studied with him as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah. A few months ago, and definitely worth a read too.
Absolutely, absolutely. But this potent energy, if we can cultivate this energy and really, if as men we're going to if we're going to ejaculate, really dedicating this energy to something else, like beyond ourselves, beyond. If you want to dedicate it to creating a baby, that's also beautiful, and do that. Or you can dedicate this to your abundance. You can dedicate this to building your business, and together with your partner, cultivating the energy together. The longer you are in the lovemaking practice, and the more you can breathe and circulate that energy together, the more you can conserve your semen and your energy, and maybe release it when it's the most potent moment. So, for example, it's the full moon, and you want to do a ritual together. You really set the sacred space, the sacred intention. You light your candles. You have soft, beautiful music, and then you go into lovemaking very slow and consciously, with the intention of building as much energy as possible for manifesting what you're trying to bring in, whether that's the success of your business or whatever that is.
Even as you're talking about it, I get the shivers. Almost the orgasm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, whoa.
Yeah. If you're gonna orgasm, don't waste it. Like, use that energy.
Well, if you're going to ejaculate, because a lot of it is like dissociating orgasm from ejaculation.
This is a long topic that I don't know if we'll go into in this podcast, but orgasm and ejaculation are two distinct processes that often they happen together. Yeah. But when we learn, if you read this book, The Multi-Orgasmic Man,
that's why you said,
right, you can separate those processes so that men can have multiple male orgasms similar to the women's orgasm. Yeah. And then the ejaculation, we can have the choice of if we want to do that or not. It's like, actually, I'm going to conserve my energy today and this week and whatever, and then another time, or save it for the full moon.
And let's not go into this, but definitely. But then here, what you talk about is, in Tantra, there's a lot of practice around semen retention to keep your life force. But it's like, when you feel like releasing that life force, do it in a really meaningful way with something you want to give birth to.
Right. And realize that every time that you're ejaculating, you are depleting your life force energy. So really choosing the right moment. And also, I don't know if we're getting too much in a rabbit hole here, but there's some Tantra schools that say you should never ejaculate. And if you ejaculate, then you're not taking this seriously as a spiritual practice. Tantra yoga, which is a very masculine approach, is a lot of times has this idea. So the kind of Tantra that I believe in, that I've learned and that I teach, is more the Kashmir Shaivism tradition that's equally honoring masculine, feminine, and really there's balance. Yeah. In the conventional society, we're really ejaculating too much, and it's really depleting everyone's energy. In my approach, it's an understanding of your own body that ejaculation is a normal reflex. Yeah. And if you know your body enough, you know like when is the moment that's healthy for you.
Maybe too much that's kept there, and so keeping more your life force in general is going to give you more energy, more life force, and powerful manifestation tool when you choose to ejaculate.
Absolutely.
Set that intention.
Absolutely. Yeah. Be very conscious about it. And it's very empowering when we have choice about when we're orgasm and we're not. And it does take training, Tantra training, to come to that point where we can really decide, and you can make love as long as you want. Make love as long as you want, and you choose the moment where actually this is the moment where I want to dedicate this to manifestation. Yeah. This is the moment that actually it's healthy for me. And when it's healthy and when it's natural and when it's organic, when the orgasm comes, it's a totally different feeling. There's no goal. It's just like full relaxation and full expansion.
And we're going to wrap it up from there. But can you give quickly 3 actions the listener can take right now? At the end of this podcast, can be a book to listen to, a practice to do, something to schedule, to help them grow their soul mission, business, and feel better in general.
Okay, some books to read. As far as cultivating the sexual energy, then what you mentioned earlier, the Multi-Orgasmic Man by Mantak Chia, and also Taoist Secrets of Love and the Healing Love through the Tao. Like there's different books by Mantak Chia that are amazing for learning how to circulate this energy through microcosmic orbit. When we can circulate this energy, the sexual energy, then more of that is available for dedicating to manifestation.
Let's do this as an action, and an action to make a step on creating your business from what you think is your mission.
Really go for it.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Even if you're not ready.
Even if your website's not set up, even if your Instagram's not set up, if you have embodied what you are teaching and you've embodied what you are sharing, just go for it. And if you need support, then I would say hire a coach.
Hire a coach.
And that investment will pay off tenfold.
That's the thing. We're looking for one action they can take now. So if they can hire a coach now, that's the one action that can trigger a snowball effect of other actions then.
Yeah. And the coach that I mean, there's some great coaches out there.
Jamin will have him in the chair.
Yeah, so exactly. You're going to have a Jamin Patel in the chair, and then you guys who are watching can feel into, hey, is this the coach for me? Is this the coach for me to take me to the next step? Or there's another coach that resonates for you. So easily you'll be able to find that next step. And the third thing is cultivating a daily practice of some kind. So unless you are, in my opinion, in my experience, unless you are solid in your meditation, then the rest of it is not going to get grounded, the rest of what you're trying to accomplish. So having a morning practice that could be Qigong or Tai Chi or yoga or Vipassana or Osho dynamic meditation or whatever that is. It could even be, going out in the nature and for a run for half an hour. Whatever that is, some kind of practice that you come to every day that centers you, that grounds you, that sets you up for success for the rest of the day and for your life. So finding out what that practice is and staying with that is going to help you stay on purpose and help you manifest your dreams.
How can people follow you and what's next for you?
That's the thing, right? So with you can go to my website, dharma-raj.com, which currently is a landing page that has a free masterclass on the women's pleasure anatomy and men's pleasure anatomy, and then I'm going to build that website. But I'm really focused more on my clients than my website right now, and also starting with, I'm actually hiring someone to boost my Instagram because my time is really dedicated somewhere else to my clients and to my students. So I'm starting to build the team to do these things. But follow me on Instagram. It's going to keep growing. Follow me on Facebook. It's going to keep growing.
Instagram handle is?
Dr. Dharmaraj, DOCTR.
And another little really interesting point. You're starting to delegate because you offer more value as a coach than as growing your Instagram. So you let that to a specialist. I like it.
This is one thing that I learned from Jamin, my coach, is that putting too much time into the website, into the Instagram and all that, those things will definitely help you build your business, but can also be a distraction and a procrastination from you really going for it and really reaching out to people, really having those calls, having those conversations, and being able to reach people and then being able to help people. So personally, I'm not going to put much time anymore into those things, but I'm going to hire a team to do those things. So you can also email me, kojidharmaraj@gmail.com, and KHOJIDHARMARAJ@gmail.com. And I'm sure Alex will post all this information. So yeah, you can reach out. I'll be launching a new coaching program for individuals and couples who are working with issues around sexuality intimacy, and I'll be launching that in the beginning of December. So if anyone's interested in that program, just reach out. I'll give you more information. We can have a call and discuss about it, and I can't wait to share with as many people as possible.
Thank you so much, Dharmaraj, for being here, sharing some of your wisdom. I'll be really excited to do more of your live trainings here in Bali.
Yes, thank you. I do want to say also, if you want to learn more about my Tantra trainings, tantra-essence.com. This is the school that I'm a lead faculty in together with Sarita. So learn more about my trainings there, and hope to see all of you.
Much love.
Thank you, Alex, for having me.
Thank you for taking some of your precious time to listen to this podcast. If you stayed until the end, I assume it was insightful. If you like this podcast, please share with friends. Remember that if you tag us in your Instagram story at the Light Leaders Podcast, we will repost. Tell us what you've learned. You can also leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Now, if you think I can help you grow your soul mission business, you can register for a free 15-minute coaching call with me. Go to www.thelightleaders.org/free call. Thank you again, and let's co-create the conscious new earth together.